It's your open source advocate, and I'm back with another video, and today I want to talk about URL shortening. Now you probably know what this is, maybe you don't know it by that name, but if you've ever been to bit.ly or had somebody send you a link from bit.ly, you know what this is. It takes a long URL and turns it into a short URL. So I set this up to try it out, and I'm just going to show you kind of what it looks like, and basically it has a password, so when I come to here it just asks for a password. It's not really a username password, there's no user management. It's just meant to be a great URL shortener. So right here, I've got this nice URL, and you can see here's some URLs from my wiki. So these are pretty long. These are things that I post in my show notes and in my stuff for YouTube. And then, you know, if I wanted to post them like on social media, these are really long. So the ability to take this and turn it into something much shorter is actually really nice. So I've got these really nice URLs. Now this is just the shortest piece right here, but it's actually got a link. So it does come out as u.trak.my/this thing. Now I started off with it this way, and then I changed it to be this way, which I like a little bit better. But if I click, it's actually going to take me to that site. And there it is. It's the install free IPA setup and install. Really nice, really simple. And I really like that about it. And it lets me collect these up. It lets me copy the URLs, do different things with them. Really simple, really straightforward, and I really like that. Now you can see this one, it's done. In 22 hours, it's over. I set it for 1 day, and then it's going to be gone. This one I set to just be there forever. This has a lot of features and a lot of really cool things about it, and I really like this. It was very simple to get set up. It is a very small container. It's like 6 megabytes, okay? I don't know anything that's only 6 megabytes anymore. So it's super small, it's super fast, and it's super easy to get set up and running. And I really like this. Now, there's a few things to understand about URL shorteners. So I'm using the domain track.my. I own that domain. I went out and searched to find that domain and own it. I wanted to own a short domain for this very reason, and I actually did that about a year ago, and I haven't just done it since then. So finally I'm putting it to use. But I own the domain track.my. So I just put u.track.my, and then this is the URL. So I just thought, hey, that's simple. I wanted to show you how to get this set up and running today. It should be fairly obvious what this is good for. It's good for shortening URLs, and especially when you want to share them with social media, if you want to share them on like a text message, if you want to share them in all the different ways you can imagine sharing a URL to get somebody somewhere, this is a great way to do it. I love self-hosted systems like this. I love things that I have a little bit of control over. You do have the option to make this a public site. And if you decide to make a public site and you let the developer know, he'll list you on his index so that people can find your site and use it. I think it's a really cool thing. I don't know that I'll create a public one, but I do love having one that's just for me, that I can create short URLs and I can share those with you guys, and I can start putting that for my show notes instead of this long, horrible thing. So I really like the idea that I can do that, and I thought you guys might enjoy something like this as well. I covered one a long time ago called kutt.it. I actually tried to get it set up and running again, and I had a really hard time getting it running again, so I don't know if I've just lost what I was trying to do with it before or how I did it, but I went through my own show notes. I couldn't figure out what I did different, so I'm guessing it's just changed in the years since I covered it the first time, and I just haven't figured out what's changed about it. But I found this one and I thought, man, this looks like a really great solution, so I thought I would share it with you guys. So we're going to get into how to install this and get it up and running right after this. I just want to say thank you so much to all of my patrons over at Patreon. It means so much to me that you want to support my content every month and that you continue to support me. I also want to say thank you to everybody who does a one-off, buy me a beer, buy me a coffee at PayPal. Man, it just makes my day when I see those notifications come through. So thank you so much for that. For everybody that subscribes at YouTube, I appreciate it. You don't understand what that really means to a creator. It means that the channel grows. Every time you subscribe and then share a video or like a video, it helps the channel grow. It helps other people find amazing open source software. So thank you for that. Now, without further ado, let's get into setting up Chhoto URL. I think that's how you say it. Forgive me if I said it wrong. I will explain. Okay, so this is the GitHub project for this actual project, I guess is the best way to put it. It's CHHOTO-URL. Now, I think this is pronounced Chhoto, but let me go down here because there is actually a pronunciation item down here somewhere. But he says, look at this. This is less than 10 megabytes compressed. It's less than 15 megabytes of RAM under regular usage and less than 6 megabytes compressed for the Docker image. So when you're talking about a really small application and really small resource usage to use this thing, but pretty awesome. What does the name mean? So here you go. I don't know how to read this even when they give me the spelling, but it looks like it's the Bangla word for small. So this means small URL. There you go. If I'm saying it wrong, I apologize, but I'm just going to call it Chhoto URL. So this looks like this is kind of his demo site. So you can go out there and check out his demo site. Pretty awesome. And then here's the password for it. So you can go check that out if you want to. The database is cleaned every 15 minutes, so don't expect to have your URLs there and share them with the world and have people to be able to go to them for months from now. It's in 15 minutes, it's not going to work anymore. You'd have to go redo it and create a new URL basically. But yeah, it's got shortened URLs, automatic expiry of links if you want to set that. It allows you to specify the shortened URL instead of actually just having a random one created. Up to you if you want to do that. Opening the shortened URL in your browser won't give you a warning. It'll just redirect you, which is kind of great. It's super lightweight. Yes, and indeed it is. And it counts the number of hits for each short link. And so basically when you create a link, you can also get some hit counts, which is kind of nice. The short links can be edited after creation. QR codes can be generated for every sharing, which is for easy sharing. Pretty awesome. Supports operation using the API key. I mean, there's a ton of features that he built in. And really, he liked another project which kind of inspired this work. And he just said it didn't have some of the features he wanted, so he decided to make one of his own. And he said a lot of the other projects that are out there for him were just too heavy, so he needed something lighter, so he built this in Rust. The nice thing is, when you come here, he's got this really great compose.yaml. I'm going to go through this. I've kind of taken it and edited it and gotten a lot of the comments out of it myself, but if you want the commented version where he explains what everything is, it is here and it is pretty awesome. He really did a great job of commenting and letting you know like what these features do. But let's get into actually how to get this thing installed, and then we'll set up the actual URL to work and we'll make everything function. So I'm going to set this up using a reverse proxy. You don't have to do that. You can just set this up on like a DigitalOcean droplet or a Linode droplet or a Linode server, and you'll get a public IP address and you can use that, but you need to set up your certificates and things like that. This does not have Let's Encrypt built in, so I would still suggest using a reverse proxy just to make the certificate stuff easy. If you're an advanced user and you know how to create certificates and set those up, then go for it. But let's go over. So I'm going to go here to my, wherever it is. Did I close it? No, right here. So I'm going to create a new version of this. So I'm just going to go to my testing system here, and you can see I've got some other containers already running. So I'm going to go here, and I'm just going to create a new one, and I'm just going to call this Chhoto test, and we'll call this URL Shortener. In fact, it won't let me have that space, so there's no point in me putting a space there. And I'll just make that capital so it's easier to read. We're going to use the container. We're going to use a Ubuntu 24.04 with Docker already installed. In fact, I'll start without Docker just to show you how to get the system set up completely. So this is going to be a fresh Ubuntu 24.04 install. It's just going to have a root user, so I'll show you how to set up your non-root user, everything. I'm going to create this bridge profile. All this does is say, hey, this can reach the internet. Don't worry about all these things, but I'm going to say, yes, I want it to restart when the system starts. And because I'm using Docker inside of a container, I'm going to set nesting to true. All things that if you're not using this specific setup, you probably don't need to know. But I said create. Here it is. I'm just going to click on start. So it basically created a virtual machine, a little container virtual machine. I've started it, and it's going to hand me an IP address from my DHCP server here in just a second, and we will SSH over to it. So this I don't need anymore, I don't think. Yeah, this is the one that I'm actually running right now. We'll use this just to SSH to the new one. First we got to go set it up though. So actually we'll go back here. I'm going to click into this guy. I'm going to go to my exec console, and I will have my editor zoom in on this space right here in just a second. Let me get this entered. There we go. So right now I'm logged in as root to that server I just created, and there's a few things I need to do. First, I need to update my system. So I'm going to do apt update 2 apt upgrade -y. This is going to go out and grab all the packages, make sure the package repository has been updated, and then it's going to upgrade those packages for me. And we'll see that happening right here. All right, so it's finished that. I'm just going to reboot, sudo reboot real quick, just to let all those changes take effect. That'll only take about 15 seconds, and then we'll jump right back into this thing. So I'm just going to let it reboot. Let's see, I'm back in already, so it was pretty fast. I'm going to clear the terminal out, and I will move back up so you can see what I'm doing. Now, I need to create a non-root user, so I'm going to do add user. I'm going to give that user a username. So in my case, it's Brian. You pick whatever name you want. I'm going to give it a password. I'm going to repeat that password. And then you can fill this in if you want to, but you don't have to. And then finally, we're just going to hit enter to accept all those changes. And we now have a non-root user, but this user does not have sudo privileges, so we need to give them that. So we're going to go user mod -a, capital G, and then sudo, and then that user. So now I've added my user to the sudo group. I need a few tools. Now this system is a very small, bare bones Ubuntu image. It does not have all the tools that I need. So I'm going to install these tools really quick. So it's going to be apt install. And I want wget curl git nano open ssh-server. And then I'm going to put a -y. So that's going to go grab all those packages, get them installed for me real quick. It should only take a few seconds. That's usually pretty quick. This video is sponsored by me. That's right. Did you know that I wrote a novel? I did. And it's a science fiction novel. It follows a guy named Dave, who's a pretty normal guy with a normal job, who happens to fall into a little bit of a less normal job, but doesn't realize it. He goes on some incredible adventures. He has some really cool things that he has to get done. It's just a passion project. I think you're going to love it. It's an action. It's an adventure. It's just so much fun. I understand if you don't want to do Patreon or PayPal, but maybe you'd like to get something out of some money that you're donating back to me. So by buying a book, you're paying me back, and at the same time, you're getting something out of it. You can jump over to Amazon. I'll have links in the description. You can jump over and get the ebook, the paperback, or the hardcover. I'll have links for as many countries as I can get links for, so no matter where you are, you can get a copy of the book. It is English only. It has not been translated. I just do want to put that out there, but I hope you'll get it. I hope you'll enjoy it, and let me know that you enjoyed it as well. Now let's get back to the program. And it's done. So we've got all those things installed. Now I'm going to grab the IP address for this machine, for this virtual machine. I'm just going to get out of that. I'm going to go back over here. And I can see the address is 130, so I'm just going to copy that. And I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to do SSH Brian at, and I'm going to paste that in. And yes, I trust it. Here's my password. And we are in. So we've already set up the server. We've got a non-root user with sudo privileges, and we have the tools that we need except for one. We need to install Docker. So we're going to do curl https://get.docker.com pipe sh. So what this says is use curl, go to this URL, download the script, and then run it with sh. So it's going to install Docker, Docker Compose, everything for us, just very simply. Now we have to put in our super user password because we're installing applications here. And then we're going to let this thing run. It doesn't take very long. It usually takes about 15-20 seconds. All right, this finished up, and it's just telling us like, hey, just so you know, the way Docker's installed right now, you have to run it as the root user, so we can fix that. And we will just do sudo user mod -a capital G Docker, and then again our username, so Brian. And that just says add Brian to the group Docker. Now I've made that change, but I need to exit the system and then just SSH right back in. And now I can do Docker PS, and I can see the headers there. I don't have anything running in Docker yet, but I can see that I have the ability to run the Docker command, and I don't have to be the root user. So the next thing we want to do is we're going to create the folder structure for holding our Docker container, and then we're going to go and create our compose file, and then we'll get everything up and running. So we're going to do mkdir-p docker/chhoto. All that command did was say, hey, if there's already a Docker folder, use it. If not, create it. And then inside of that, if there's already a Chhoto folder, use it. If not, create it. So it did all that in one command. So we're going to do cd docker/chhoto. And you can see there's nothing in here. So we're going to do nano compose.yaml, just like this, compose.yaml. It's going to be an empty file, and I'm just going to go grab this YAML real quick. And this will be in the show notes. In fact, this is pretty much my show notes. I'll finish them up. But I'm just going to grab all of this YAML that I created. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go back to here. I'm going to Control-Shift-V to paste it in. And then we'll go back up here and kind of talk about what this is doing. So we've got Chhoto URL as the service name. The image it's going to grab right here is the latest version. It's going to give the container name the same thing. TTY true, just leave that alone. Now I've got this port right here, 4567 is his default port. This is the left side, so it's got these little less than and greater than. You just need to get rid of those. I don't like 4567, so I'm going to use 34567. That's a better port number. It's up high. It's not one that's likely to have some other thing attached to it, so we're just going to address that with 34567. That's going to map to the container port 4567 on the right side. We don't want to change the one on the right. We can change the one on the left. Next thing is this db URL is equal to /db/urls.sqlite. Just leave that alone. Our site name right here. So we need to get rid of this again, and we need to fill in the right site URL that we're going to use. So I own the domain track.my. I have it pointed to my reverse proxy server, and then I will use my reverse proxy server to create the domain I'm about to type in right here. So before I used u.track.my. So this time let's do we.track.my. Okay, and we're going to put an HTTPS in front of that, // So it should look something like this. Of course, it should be a domain you own, and then you can put a subdomain or you can just use the main domain. It's completely up to you. Nothing to do with the hash algorithm. We don't need to change this port setting. This password is just a placeholder, so you should go put in a password that you know that is long and strong. So let's just put in something like some super long, strong password I made just now in my head. Okay, now this is a terrible password. You should never use something like this, but you get the idea. It's very long. It uses upper and lower case. We should really throw in like a number. So we'll put a number in there and a symbol if you can, but you get the idea. So we've got this password. You want it to be a unique password, not one you've used everywhere else in the world. This API, if you're going to use the API, which means you're not going to use the web front end, you're going to use some kind of command line thing, you can get the API set up. If you don't, it's fine. Redirect method temporary, I just leave it commented out. Don't even sweat it. Now the site style, UID. So if you're a member, we'll go back and look at the one that I'm already running. Remember I said first it created this one. This is where I had it set up to pair. So it creates a value pair in JSON, and this is what it creates for your site key. This is a little bit long even for a shortened URL for me, so I switched it to UID and I set the number to 6. So generally it's set to 8, but here I switched this from pair, and I'm telling you out here, pair or UID, you can pick which one you want. This is 6, it defaults to 8, so I changed it so it'll only be 6 long. And then this setting right here says, hey, if we hit a conflict, if we happen to pick the same 6 combination that's already on one, do you want us to try a longer combination to try to get past that unique constraint? And I just changed this to true. It is defaulted to false. Also, it says allow capital letters. I also changed this to true. It is defaulted to false. As we go down, you see a bunch of things commented out. This is mostly stuff you don't need to do. If you want to run this as a public site, you would come here and take out this hashtag, this space and hashtag, so that this hash lines up with this one. And then here, you would also say how long do you want their site, how long do you want their URLs to last? And it's in seconds. So 3,600 seconds is 1 hour. If you want longer, you could do 36,000. That's 10 hours. If you want longer, you do 360,000. That's 10 hours times 10. So whatever that comes out to, 100 hours. So it's really up to you kind of how you set this. But this is only if you want it to expire. If you don't, if you just want to have a public site and they stay forever, just unmark this one. If you want both of these settings, unmark them both and set them appropriately. Finally, if you want to disable the front end, so you don't want the web UI to be used, you only want to use that API up there, you can change this to true. If you want a custom landing directory, because you're going to put a certain page in front of the page I just showed you, you can do that, but you need to go through and read his instructions, and you need to put it in this folder, and you need to make sure this folder exists, and all kinds of stuff. And then finally, the cache control stuff. If you don't want to have a cache, if you just want it to load up each time, you can uncomment this, but I just left it as is. Finally, the volume. So I did change this from his setup. He just had db:/db. I actually wanted this to be inside of this folder where I'm creating this file so that everything's all together. So if I need to back this up, I can just back up the chhoto folder I created earlier inside the Docker folder, or I can in fact just back up the entire Docker folder and get all of my Docker applications that may be in there. and it grabs the data with it. So when I bring it over to another system, I can spin it right up and it's going to work. All I got to go do is change my reverse proxy IP address if needed. So if something crashes, this is a really easy way to keep everything together and get it up and running. So these are the changes I've made. We've gone through and changed everything I believe that we need to change or have to change. Again, there are options depending on how you want to run this, but up to you. So we've got this set. So I'm going to save my changes with Control O. Hit Enter, Control X to exit nano. And I'm going to do docker compose pull. It doesn't like something I've got. Mapping values are not allowed in this context. Line 2. Let's just see what I did wrong. I changed something there. I don't think that's bad. This all looks okay. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes. That one looks okay. Password looks okay. Maybe I just changed something by accident and didn't realize I did it. I don't think so. Everything looks like it's right. Oh, I just didn't copy one of my hash marks. That's it. There we go. 3 hashtags. If you put hashtags at the top, it has to have 3. I don't know why. Okay. There we go. Let's try this again. Docker compose pull. There it goes. It's going to pull it down. It's very fast. I couldn't even finish saying it before it was done. And now we're going to do docker compose up -d 2 ampersands docker compose logs -f. So this is what you're going to get, and this tells you that it's up and running. Pretty straightforward, and it tells you what's going on here, and it even shows you like re.track.my is what it's going to be trying to create as your shortened URL, so you need to have that set up. But we can test to see if we can get to the site first. So I know the IP address that I've got, so I'm going to go 192.168.10.130, and remember I changed that port to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is what we expect. You see it's kind of blurred out back here, and it's asking for that password that we typed in. So you want to have that long password ready. But then you'll get to this page and you can start creating URLs. Now we don't want to do it from here because this is going to create the we.track.my URL, and it's not going to work because we haven't set up our reverse proxy yet. So let's go do that. We'll close that one. We'll even close this one. And we're going to go over here to our proxy. So I've got the pangolin proxy set up. I did this in another video earlier. This is a reverse proxy. It uses WireGuard. So this is running out on the internet on a DigitalOcean droplet. I've created all these different sites basically, and I can go into my home server site, and in here I've got a bunch of sub-sites that are running on different servers where I can access those things and get to different network stuff. It's really nice. It lets me go, it creates an overlay network where I can get to all these things really easily. So what I need to do is go to resources, and I'll show you. I've got the u.track. So here's that one. Here's my first one. So that's the one I've got. Now if I just type in track, you'll see it's still that one. I don't have the other one set up yet. So we're going to go in here and set it up. So we're going to say create a new one. And I'm going to call this CHHOTO test. And we're going to use my home ingress site. I have a lot of sites here that I could use for different servers and different places on the internet, but I'm going to use this one because it's at home. I do want it to be an HTTPS resource, and I do want it to be a subdomain. So I said we're going to call this we, and we're going to pick track.my. So it's going to be we.track.my, and I'm going to hit save. That's going to take me to this page where I put in the IP address on my network. So 192.168.10.130. And then I'm going to put in the 1345667. That's my port number that we needed. I'm going to click add. I'm just going to save. And then I got to go do one more thing on Pangolin. It wants to create a sign-in thing in front of my sites. I don't need that for this because it's already got a password. So I'm just going to hit save on that. So we're going to give that just about 30 seconds more. Let's Encrypt do its thing and go say, hey, can I get a certificate? So we have a valid HTTPS certificate for our site. And then we're just going to click on this link, and it should take us right to the site we saw before. While we're waiting for that to work, I'm going to go back over to here. I'm just going to quit out of my logs here, and I'm going to cat out my compose file, and I'm going to grab this crazy password that I put in right here and copy it. There we go. And we can clear that out, and then we'll go back to here, and let's click on this thing. And there we go. We get logged right up to it, and I'm going to click just paste in that password, and it's happy. I could save it if I wanted to. So I'm ready to put in a long URL. let's go find a long URL. Let's do a different one. Let's do some other install here. Let's see what I did for, I don't know, guacamole. Yeah, we've got install guacamole using Docker. So here is the long URL that I would normally paste in as my show notes. So let's grab that guy. Let's go to our site right here and let's paste it in. Now, I could type in whatever I want for the short URL. I don't need to. I can also tell it to expire. So I could expire it in a day, a week, a month. It's up to you. I'm just going to leave never for now. We're going to click go. And you'll see right here it says, I created it. It's we.track.my/ and here's this short little 6-digit thing. That's going to take me to the page that I need. So if I click it, you'll see we get routed right to the install guacamole using Docker. Exactly like you would expect and exactly like you would want. This is such a simple, really great way to do something. And if I want to get to this later, I can just go here and copy it. We've got the QR code generator. We can edit it if we need to, and of course we can delete it. So we can see how many hits, and we can see whenever we have if there's an expiration, when it's going to expire. This is a really nice little system. It is very clean. It is very straightforward. It is super, super simple. I think this is going to be one that I just keep up and running, and I'm going to maybe start using. We'll see how that goes. I don't know if I want to use shortened URLs for my YouTube stuff, but maybe for all my other social media posts when I make a video so that I can get them out there. I really like this thing. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to go over and give a star on the GitHub project. Let the developer know you like it and that you really appreciate his work, and try to contribute if you can. Just saying thank you means so much to people. Just don't forget to do that. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, like, subscribe, tell your friends about it so they can come along the open source journey with us, and I'll talk to you next time.